exciting subject of passion and will provide more insight for us, especially about the topic they are ensuring integrity. And I hope this program is useful for all participants, especially for IS security student class. And I think thank you very much. Thank you very much. And Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Badrul Zaman, for the opening speech. So we are now going to head directly into the content of today's DECOTA, which is video conferencing with Universitas Airlangga. But first of all, I would like to explain the short biography of our speaker today. We have Associate Professor Muhammad Irsyad bin Abdullah from Faculty of Information Sciences and Engineering, Management and Science University. And Professor Muhammad Irsyad Abdullah received his Bachelor of Engineering in Computer System from RMIT University Australia in 2002. Later in 2008, he has successfully developed driving simulator study on adaptive cruise control, resulting him obtaining the Master of Science in Real-Time Software Engineering from the Center for Advanced Software Engineering, or CASE, University Technology Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. He was successfully engaged as a head of department at the Department of Engineering and Technology, Faculty of Information Sciences and Engineering, and his research is focusing on simulation and traceability software engineering. In 2015, he received his PhD in computer science and was appointed as an associate professor focusing in the area of software engineering. From 2015, he has been a senior researcher at MSU, involved in various funded research projects. And in November 2015, he was appointed as Deputy Dean of Academic and Research, before later being appointed as a Dean of Faculty of Information Sciences and Engineering in May 2018. Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Irsyad is part of the Sustainable Engineering Group, Software Engineering Group, and project leader for MySolar Community Innovation Project. And today, he will deliver the art of ensuring integrity. So for Professor Irsyad, I will give you the time and the place to give lecture for us today. So Professor Irsyad, time is yours. Excuse me, I think you're still mute.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Halim. I also like to thank Mr. Badrul Zaman. Okay. Okay. I think this is my second time I'm giving what do you call it? Not through DECOTA, tapi with UNAIR. Okay. Just last Monday I had my session also with the UNIMUS. So this time I'm also with UNAIR. I'm very what do you call it? Grateful to be invited as one of the what do you call it? As a visiting lecturer here. Okay. So let me share the screen first. Sound. All right. Okay, the art of ensuring integrity, right? The topic that you request me to present today, cybersecurity essential. Okay, this is under topic of cybersecurity essential, fundamental topic of that. Okay, and of course I'm from MSU, and I think today we just officially open our campus to the students so they can come to the campus physically. By the government, they allow us to have physical classes starting today onwards in Malaysia, basically. I don't know in UNAIR, you still have virtual or you're still blended?
We are still
Virtual.
doing the virtual.
Oh, virtual. Yeah. Okay, all right. Okay, we are opening today. Physical, of course, there are some students are in virtual blended mode, actually blended in hybrid mode. Okay. Of course, there is some of the recognition for the MSU. I think similar to UNAIR as well. All right, Mr. Airlangga, and then this our achievement for the university. Okay, just a little bit about myself. Thank you, MC Halim. MC Halim, I call you. All right. Of course, I graduated from MIT from engineering. My basic is computer system engineering. but I did my software engineering in Advanced Software Center from UTM, okay, where I did my programming there. I did my traceability, right, data integrity, and so on. Okay, so if you look here from the screen, MSU in particular, the faculty, we call it FISE, Faculty of Information Sciences Engineering. We had a collaboration with Cybersecurity Malaysia, and some of our industry partners are from Vigilant Asia, Asymmetric, and so on. Okay, like Petronas IT, and even we had a forensic team from PDRM. Okay, that is our collaborations with the cybersecurity in Malaysia, basically. Okay, because of we have this program, Bachelor in Computer Forensic. Okay, we had this program, Bachelor in Diploma in Computer Forensic. We also have the ICT, Bachelor in Information and Communication Technology, Bachelor in Computer Science, and we have other IT related program as well. Okay, and for this particular topic, I will be focusing on cybersecurity. Okay, the art of ensuring the integrity. Right, this is our students here. They are actually, if you look at the screen here, this is our last classes in virtual. They are having competition on cybersecurity. So they're showing what do you call it, what they have done in their virtual classes. Okay. Okay, for this part, I'm referring to the Cisco Network Academy, my references. Okay, so we're looking into the types of data integrity controls, and then followed by digital signatures, and then digital certificates, and then lastly is database integrity enforcement. For my lecture, I will be using some of the video clips, and then I will explain from there. Okay, so that's I'm going to do, because there are some good video clips online, and then I use that for the classes as well. Okay. Okay, before we start, we need to understand first why we what actually we are looking into. Okay, we need to identify the problems. We need to identify why we're studying this topic. Of course, okay, of course, definitely, we are living in the world of various form of data. Okay, now we are in the internet technology. We are in the society 5.0, industry 4.0. So basically, what you can see here is that everything that we use every day, I think, even right now, we are using Zoom, is all form of data. Okay, so we cannot run away from it. We cannot, what do you call it? We cannot deny that it is very essential for us, very important for us. Okay, Shopee, I even put the, what do you call it, kartu tanda penduduk Indonesia, the chips there, the data there, and then I don't know why I put pin here, but anyway, we can see here, all right, everything is about digital. Data is now in the form of digital, right? So we are focusing on this, and there are so many data, they call it big data, so many data, and how to make it is very useful information. But to become a useful information, we must make sure that the data is valid. The integrity of the data must be valid. Okay. So that's one of the reasons why it's important for us. This topic is very important actually. How to ensure that the data is the integrity of data is being ensured. Okay. All right. So let's look at the problem first before we go to the topic furthermore. Okay. If you look at the global cybersecurity index last year, 2020, okay, Malaysia is ranked number 2 in the world, right? South Korea and Singapore is number 1, and I think Indonesia is number 6 here. It's not that far actually. The point is there, okay. And I pick up this from the from Thailand website actually, so that's why being highlighted here. But anyway, this shows that what do you call it? This is how the countries respond to the global cybersecurity threat. Okay. And this is what among the incidents that been facing. If you look here, the highest would be on the information gathering, okay, cybersecurity incidents. And also look here is that vulnerability of the data of the apps. The one that I showed to you before, the apps, there are some vulnerability that can be hacked, that can be attempted by unwanted person. Okay, so these are some of the incidents that actually why some of the data actually we cannot trust, why the data must be verified, to be validated, okay, and to be checked. Okay, I just like to focus on these three type of incidents leading to our discussion today. Number one is on data breaching, and number two is on social engineering, and number three is man in the middle. Okay, so these are the type of cybersecurity incidents that will actually cause the problem. Why it's very important for us to ensure that the integrity of data is very important. Okay, let's look at this. First one is data breaching. Okay, let me play a video on this. Hopefully you can hear the sound.
How is it that your credentials are already publicly available on the internet? This is because of data breaches. When hackers manage to hack a website and get access to the website's database where the user information like their credentials are stored, they leak all this data on the internet. In most cases, they sell this data on hacker forums and dark web, or even post it on Pastebin. It's the hacker's choice, of course. This data contains the usernames and passwords of all or a part of the users of that website. So if you are a user of the website that got breached, your data is leaked too. Most of the websites hash your passwords before they store it in their database. So a hacker needs to first crack your password hash in order to find your real password in plain text. But I'm not saying that it is impossible to crack a password hash. In fact, most of the data breaches on the internet contain plain text passwords. Many famous websites like Twitter, LinkedIn, 000 Webhost, etc. already suffered major data breaches. And all these breaches are publicly available on the internet, literally for anyone to see. Fun fact, there is a breach compilation available on the internet that contains literally 1.4 billion email password combinations. Think about it, 1.4 billion.
Okay, all right. What is that all about? Let me, okay, data breaching. Yeah. Another fun fact here is that, right, before I go to that, now we are on the, we are approaching an endemic, okay, because of COVID-19. Cybercrime is up to 600%, okay, 600%. Right now we are, if you, like in Malaysia, we have this apps called MySejahtera. I don't know in Indonesia what kind of apps, because you need to use your apps and then you have to register your locations. So actually you are being monitored 24 hours where you are, okay? So there are people who are taking this, they are, because there are so many apps, there are many softwares that being built very, very fast. So what they do is that there are some vulnerability of the apps and the software, okay? So even if there is a cases last year, I think, Zoom user account were compromised and sold on the dark web. Okay, so I think they have fixed it already. That's what happened actually. So there is a lot on one of the issue of data breaching. Okay, I would like to go to this website. I'd like to show to you. Let me share another screen. Where is it? Okay, stop share first. Right. Maybe you have seen this website before. I don't know. Okay, you can see here, this is haveibeenon.com passwords. Okay, let's say I put one ABC 123. That's my password, ABC 123. Okay. So if you can see here, all right, this password has been used, okay, been used 2 million times. You can test your own password if that password is your password actually has been used or being breached by hackers, right? So this is 613 million real password being exposed in data breaches. This is not a fake one, this is a real one, okay, being recorded. So if you want, you can also even check your email here. Okay, check your own email or phone if you want to. I have my email, Irsyad, let's say at gmail.com. I don't know, this is not my email actually, someone else email, but 7 data breaches, meaning that this email has been used by, people are attempting to use this email 17 times. Okay, my real email is this. Okay, so that's why sometimes I don't put just a normal name, because of course, even my email, irsyad.mail, 3 data breaches. I have another email I created. Okay, so there's no breach account, which is good. All right, this was good. So my work email, irsyad@msu. Okay, that's my work email. I said that's good. Okay, so no people are using my account. You can test this on your own. If you generate email like Ali Upin, Upin. Okay, generate email. Are they? Do they have it? Yes, 12. Right. So meaning that there are 12 email of Upin has been used and breached. Okay, meaning that people are attempting to use this email to access certain website or apps. Okay, and then I like to show this, the what they call it, the 57 biggest data breaches up to 9th September. Okay, they want to show here how serious is this, what does it mean by data breaches. Okay, they wanted to get the full name, all right, the email address and so on. This is the information. I think the most famous one actually is the Facebook, in Facebook, this happened last time. Okay, because most of us have Facebook. So there's issue last time. The informations are being leaked for free. Okay, that's why I said, oh, my Facebook has been hacked. Someone hacked my Facebook. So that's happened last time. What's the issue if your data being hacked? If your data being hacked, if you put your video, your pictures, of course people will abuse it. Okay, they will use your photo and try to use whatever purpose they use. That's one of the serious concern basically. Okay, of course there are many of here, you can check on your own what is the cost, but you can see up to date there are so million of data breaches, especially during pandemic. We had this happen all the time. Okay, let me continue the slide. Right, if you look here, most of the cases, 1,300% due to the food and beverages. Okay, meaning that if you order your food online, maybe through Shopee or Gojek in Indonesia, right? Here we could use call Grab. Okay, there is tendency that people will try to use your data account. Okay, try to breach your account. So there is so many cases involved here, because I think due to the pandemic, people are using a lot of apps to buy and to purchase food online, delivery online, and so on. Okay. Now let's look into number 2, social engineering. Okay, so I'll let another video here.
Social engineering. This is literally you giving away your username and password to a stranger on the internet. Hackers can pretend to be someone else to try to extract your crucial information, like your credentials, directly from you. For example, let's say you get a link like this from someone, and this link claims that you can get Instagram likes instantly for free of cost. You click on the link and you're taken to a very convincing website that claims to offer you free likes for your Instagram posts. If you put in your Instagram credentials on this website, thinking that this is a legit website, well, you're hacked. This is called phishing. It is one of the several types of social engineering attacks, and it is also the most common technique hackers use. Now, this is obviously not limited only to Instagram. You may end up losing your other social media accounts, email accounts, or even your online banking accounts through social engineering. However, the way a hacker approaches you to perform this social engineering can vary. And sometimes, even if you're not a computer illiterate, you may still fall for it. A hacker can also install a rat on your device through social engineering. A rat is nothing but a malware that gives the hacker remote access to your device. By installing a rat, the hacker will be able to do literally anything, like stealing your credentials for different websites by using a keylogger, stealing your photos and videos, finding your exact GPS location, or even operating your device's camera or microphone without your knowledge. For example, look at this innocent SMS I received, which claims that if I install this network carrier app, I will get free internet data. I click on the link and download the APK. It does look like the official app of the network provider. Well, actually, it is indeed the official app of the network provider. But a rat is binded to this app by the hacker. As soon as I install this on my device, the hacker has complete access to my device.
Okay, the second one. Okay, let's go for the third one. Man in the middle. All right, man in the middle. The last one.
Man-in-the-middle attacks. Now this type of hacking is not very likely to occur, but there is a chance that you can get hacked by man-in-the-middle attacks. In this attack, a hacker can put himself as the man in the middle between you and the internet you are browsing. Let's say you're browsing internet from a public Wi-Fi network. Anyone who is using the same Wi-Fi network will be able to put themselves as the man in the middle, and they can see your internet traffic or even modify it. This means they will be able to see literally everything that you are sending and receiving from the internet using that public Wi-Fi.
Okay, so there are three actually. You can see here the most common cybersecurity incident that shows that why it's important for us to make sure that the data is that we receive is valid and the integrity is contained. Okay, so this is man in the middle attack. So let's look at the first one. Okay, types of data integrity controls. What kind of controls for the integrity of data? Okay, before we go into that further, let's recap some of the keywords that we use in this lecture. Number one is encryption. I think this is cybersecurity. I think I have learned this. Encryption and decryptions, where we convert electronic data into another form called ciphertext, which cannot be easily understood by anyone except the authorized parties. Okay, and the decryption is the reverse process of it. Translate the ciphertext into the data. So this is the basic encryption and decryption. Okay. Next one is the authentications. Okay. Authentication is any process by which a system verify the identity. Okay, this is important for you to understand. Authentication is any process by which a system verify the identity of a user who wishes to access it. Okay, and number two is integrity. This is the definition of integrity here. To make sure that the message was not altered during the transmissions. The data is still there when you receive at the end of the network. Okay, at the end of the transmissions, still the same. Okay, so if you got A, you still got A, you not got B. Okay. And then another term that is very important in this lecture is non-repudiations. Means that to ensure that a transferred message has been sent and received by the parties claiming to have sent and received the message. This is a guarantee that the sender of a message cannot later deny having sent the message, and that the recipient cannot deny having sent the message. This is normally used by the bank. Okay, they use the term of NRO, NRE. Okay. For them to make sure that to verify that you actually send the data and then you are responsible for the data. So these are the three terms that we're going to use for this lecture: authentications, integrity, and non-repudiations. Okay. I think I've got this ready. Another one is we'll call it the keys. Encryption keys, cryptographic keys, symmetric encryptions and asymmetric encryptions. So we have symmetric and asymmetric. Is using a key, the same key for encryption and decryption. It's easy. Symmetric is only using the same key, but asymmetric we use two keys, two different keys. One is public key and private key. So this is also used in this lecture, symmetric and asymmetric key. Okay. Usually the private key is kept secret and known only to the owner, and the public key is open to the public to be used usually for decryptions, and usually what they call the private key is used for encryption. Okay, let's go for the first data integrity controls, the hashing algorithms or the hashing function. Okay, what is hashing? Hashing is a tool that ensures data integrity by taking binary data, which is the text, okay, and producing a fixed length representations called the hash text or message digest. This is the one. So this is the hash function. Okay, we use certain function and then we convert it into hashtag in binary, usually in binary. I'll show you example later on. Hashing is a one-way mathematical function that is relatively easy to compute, but significantly harder to reverse. You cannot reverse it. Okay, for example, like this coffee bean, this is plain text. This is digest message. So you cannot simply reverse it. You cannot simply glue this and make this into a coffin bean again. Okay, so that's what it meant by hashing algorithm. It's a one-way mathematical function. Okay. What is other criteria of hashing algorithm? It's a represent data as a short string of text. Okay, a message digest is a one-way trip, almost impossible to recover the original message from the digest. Okay, it normally used to store password, and we also use it to verify a downloaded document. Is it the same as the original? Okay, when we download certain software, like normally we download software, right? If we download software from internet, we check that for checksum. Okay, so they use hashing algorithm, a very basic hashing algorithm. It can be used for digital signature. Okay, this is the one that we learn. We're going to cover this later on. Authentications, non-repudiations, and integrity. And it should not have a collision. Okay, so hashing algorithm is a way for us to transfer. Remember when I said what they call it, to ensure integrity of data means that we transfer data from A to B, from point A to point B. Point A to point B, it's a network. So normally that's what happens when we open our email, when we look into TikTok, read Zoom kan, so the data is transferred from point A to point B. So what's happened now is that how you make sure that the data is actually what they call it, real. Itu masalah dia. Sekarang macam saya kan, do you think I'm real? That's the questions. Okay, or someone else actually. I'm different person. It's not Dr. Irsyad. It's somewhere else. Okay, itulah dia. All right, next one is a cryptographic hash function. Okay, it can be any length. Then text ni. The output, on the other hand, is having a fixed length. Okay, and is one way and not reversible. Two different input values will always result in different hash values. Okay, so we have different. We send another picture here. We send another picture here. It should be different. Okay. For example, here, let me show you example of what they call a message called Bob, B-O-B, Bob. I'm using binary here, B-O-B, Bob. Okay. B, this is B, this is O, and this another B. So B-O-B. So we translate it into binary. Okay. Using ASCII code. And then this is the message. All right, Bob. I'm just simple a message Bob, and convert it to binary first. B-O-B. This is the message in binary, and we sum the bytes. This is a process, a simple hash algorithm at bit checksum, a simple one. Okay, so we convert it into a binary. I can use hex here to represent it. 4 into 4 and F 4 into. So we sum it. Okay, tambah semua ni. We sum it. Become D3. Okay, in hexadecimal. So what's happened is that we add another process here. We convert it to second complement. All right. So we have sum here, D3 just now, D3, and we what I call it, we do the opposite. 1 becomes 0, 1 becomes 0, 0 becomes 1, and then we got 2C. We convert it to and C. Kan nampak sini kan, 2 and C. So we add another one to become 2D. So there's a process here. We sum, we do the opposite, and then we add 1. So this is a mathematical function, and then this is the final data. From here, it become here. So if you can see, it's quite difficult for us to do the reverse because it's not exactly the same like here, right? You can see here, different. Okay, right? So there are many modern hashing algorithm. This is very simple one. It's a very simple mathematical function, okay? But there is a better one. Even message digest MD5 is quite fundamental actually. but people mostly use SCCA, secure hash algorithm. Okay, you can use either one of it. It depends on your PC, depend on your purpose. The higher security, the complicated or the longer time it will take to process the data. Okay, so if your concern is about speed, choose the lowest one or the simple one. Okay, for that reason also why some companies, they like to use a very plain password to keep their password, right? Because it involves some speed. If you have very poor internet connections, this definitely will take some compute power, all right, computing power. But nowadays, I think most of us have very good, even our phone are very powerful. So there's no issue here, all right? Not an issue here, except that you're living in a remote area. Maybe there will be some issues. Okay. Right. Okay, next one. I don't have video actually. I have video actually, but I don't have it. I think I have it. Let go of here. Salting. What is salting? Okay. First, we have this basic hashing function. Very basic hashing function. Number one, hashing function or hashing algorithm. Is it sufficient? It's not sufficient. Okay. Then we introduce salting, garam. Salt ni garam kan? Garam in Malay. We put random text, random, what do you call it, data. This is your password, maybe the password, and then you just put any salt. Why we are doing this? Okay. If two users have the same password, I'm using password 123456. Another one also using the same password 123456. There is a possibility that that person will access my account. I may have Irsyad. My account name is Irsyad. Login is Irsyad. Okay, and my password also 1234. 1234. He also, the name is Irsyad, and he's also using the same password 1234. There will be an issue. I'm two different person, but I have the same name, and somehow I'm using the same password. So that's the issue for the normal hashing. It can be hashed. Remember, hashing says that the same input can produce the same output. Okay, the same text produce the same output. How to solve that? They will simply put a salt. Just put random salt. We don't know how much salt you want to put. The same password, sama kan, password. They just put salt so that the output will be different. Okay, you can see here different, totally different compared to without this salt. You will have the same output. So this is the solutions. If this is a better solutions for hash function. Hash function or hash algorithm is very basic. Number one is very basic, and then we solve the problem. Okay, we solve the problem by introducing salt. Okay, salting process. Okay, third one, what is this? HMAC. Okay, hash-based message authentication codes. It's better than the other two, of course. All right, strengthen hashing algorithm by using an additional secret key. Ini guna cryptographic key. Cryptographic key that I introduced you earlier. Okay, input to the hash function. We have this hash function, but now we don't use salt, but we use secret key. Salt dia masuk je kan, dia masuk garam je, tapi tak ada kunci. We don't use key, maksudnya we control the key. Alright, it's better than salt because we are using key. Okay, it goes a step further than just integrity assurance by adding authentications. Kalau tadi tu number one and number two ya. Number one is on function, on the hash function or hash algorithm, is focusing on integrity. Okay, so tambah lagi garam, they add more salt, integrity is better, but only on integrity. So they are introducing, but that's not enough. We like to authenticate, authentications, nak verify betul tak orang itu. Okay, so they introduce HMAC, all right, authentications. It uses a specific algorithm that combines a cryptographic hash function with a secret key as shown in this figure. Okay, so this is the output. So this is our data. We just put key and then we do the function and then we got this. Okay, so we have a better output compared to using a normal hash function or with salt. Okay, let me show you a video explaining this further.
You might have found out that there is a website that checks if your online accounts have been compromised by hackers. So you enter in your email address and oh no, you have been pwned. Hackers now know the passwords that you used on all these services. But do they really know your password? Well, as it turns out, that might not actually be the case. And to understand why, let's take a look at what options companies have to protect your passwords and safely store them so that even when hackers get access to their systems, your password stays safe. There are 3 ways a company can store your password. They can store it in plain text, use encryption on it, or use what's called a hash function. Let's go quickly over each one of these, and let's start with the most basic one, plain text. This is obviously the most dangerous way of storing passwords. If hackers breach the company's database, they get to see all the passwords of the users. And since a lot of people have the bad habit of using the same password for multiple accounts, it's likely that one compromised password could lead to more compromised accounts. Now, you might think that companies aren't silly and that none of them store our passwords in plain text. However, you would be very wrong in thinking that. Past breaches have showed us that top companies with millions of users weren't adequately protecting passwords. A possible alternative to plain text storage is encryption. You take the password of the user and, before you store them, encrypt them with an encryption key. This would prevent hackers from obtaining the real password of users, but it's still quite risky. Underneath the encryption layer is still a plain text password, and so if an attacker manages to steal the encryption key as well, he can unlock all the passwords. The problem with encryption is that it is designed to work in 2 ways. You can encrypt the user's password to keep it safe, but you can also decrypt it to reveal the password again. Encryption is very practical when you want to share data in a secure way, but not great if you want to prevent hackers from breaching your password. And that brings us to the 3rd technique of storing passwords, and that's by using a hash function. How does that work? Well, a hash function takes an input that could be a piece of text like your password, or it could be a file, and it turns that into a string of text that always has the same length. There are many different hash functions available, but this is what the SHA-3 hash of Hello World looks like. Hash functions are very different from encryption because they only work in one way. You can calculate the hash of a password, but you cannot take a hash and turn it back into the original data. And that is an interesting property to have. By using hashes, companies can verify that you're logging in with the correct password without having to store your actual password. However, they aren't perfect either. Most hashing algorithms are optimized for speed. The more hashes per second they can calculate, the better. And that makes them vulnerable against brute force attacks. By simply calculating every hash of every possible password, an attacker can reverse the hash function. A modern GPU can do this with the speed of 292 million hashes per second, so it's only a matter of time before a hashed password is cracked using this technique. And if that's not fast enough, hackers can also use rainbow tables to further accelerate the process. These are lists of pre-computed hashes that can be used to quickly find weak and commonly used passwords. The speed of a hash function is a positive thing in certain areas. However, when it comes to storing passwords, you don't want this property. And then there is a second problem, and that happens when users share the same password. If both Alice and Bob have the password QWERTY, the hashes of their passwords will be identical. So when a hacker cracks the hash of this password, he also knows the other. Now, you might think that's not a big deal because it's very unlikely that different people will use the same password. Well, think again. The password QWERTY has been found more than 3 million times in data breaches. To make matters even worse, here's the top 10 most used passwords in 2017. Not the strongest of passwords. To defend against these types of attacks, we can add what's called a salt to the password before we hash it. The salt is just some random data, but it ensures that the hash of your password will always be unique, even if others use the same password. So if Bob and Alice both use the password QWERTY, their hashes will be completely different. So if an attacker cracks Bob's password, he can't link that password to Alice, and he has to start his cracking attempts all over again. This technique prevents hackers from cracking a bunch of passwords in one go. It makes a brute force attack slower, but still very much possible. So to solve this, we have to take a look at another technique, which is using a special hash function which is deliberately being slowed down. Example of these are bcrypt, scrypt, or argon2, and they completely neutralize brute force attacks. These algorithms take a password as input along with a salt and a cost. This last one is very interesting. The cost defines the number of rounds the algorithm goes through, and this effectively slows it down. Now, over time, our computers become faster, and so brute force attacks against these algorithms becomes easier. And that's because they can simply try more combinations in a shorter time span. All we have to do to counter this is increase the cost parameter so the algorithm remains resistant against these types of attacks. Pretty genius. So those are the three options that a company has to store and protect your passwords. But why settle for just one method if we can use multiple? You can't be greedy enough when it comes to security. This multi-layer protection is used by Dropbox, for instance. They take your password and start by running it through a simple hash function without a salt. This is their first line of defense. They then take the hash and run it through the bcrypt algorithm with a salt and a cost of 10. This prevents brute force attacks. And finally, the resulting hash is encrypted with the Advanced Encryption Standard, or AES for short. The encryption key for this is not stored in their database, but is instead kept separately. So if an attacker breaches the Dropbox database, they will have to peel away each protective layer around your password, and that will take a lot of time. In fact, the cracking attempt would likely be more costly than what they get in return for compromising your account. So time for a conclusion then. If your account has been compromised, it's best to change your password immediately. However, depending on the security measures of the company that was compromised, it might be possible that hackers haven't been able to retrieve your password. And that's thanks to the magic of hash functions and cryptography in general. So now you know how companies can safely store your passwords. That was it for this video. If you learned something from it, hit the thumbs up.
Okay, so that's the a video on the difference between basic hash function with salt, and also if you use another bcrypt there, which I'm not explaining here, right? So you can see most of it, they use it to store password. The reason why is that that is the first layer of protections of our data. If you look, even our Facebook account, even our handphone, if we want to open our handphone, there will be some sort of like password, right? Can be your face, can be your thumb, can be a simple gesture. So that is basically some of the device they simply put, you can see here, they put in a plain text. There's no protection at all. Encryption still very risky because you can encrypt and decrypt, okay? And the best is hash function. The reason why hash function or hash algorithm is very good in terms of storing the password, because it's only one way, all right? One way directions. It is about there. Kalau encryption tak, dia boleh decrypt balik. Okay.
You might have found.
Okay, let's go to topic number 2 here, digital signatures. We've gone through the first one, hash, okay, hash function with salt, and HMIC. Now let's look at digital signatures. What are these? How does it relate to the first topic? Okay, again, another video. I like this video.
A digital signature is equivalent to a handwritten signature. It is an electronic verification of the sender. A digital signature serves 3 purposes. 1. Authentication. A digital signature gives the receiver reason to believe the message was created and sent by the claimed sender. 2. Non-repudiation. With a digital signature, the sender cannot deny having sent the message later on. 3. Integrity. A digital signature ensures that the message was not altered in transit. Digital signatures are commonly used for software distribution, financial transaction, and other cases where it's important to detect forgery and tampering. Digital signatures are very popular with email users. Let me demonstrate how digital signature works. Here is the scenario. Bob is sending a memo to Alice with his digital signature. Keep in mind, digital signature uses asymmetric cryptography, which means public key algorithm is employed. First, Bob generates two keys, public key and private key. Bob keeps the private key and gives Alice, the receiver, the public key. After creating a memo, Bob generates a digest by hashing his memo using some hash algorithm. Bob then encrypts the digest with his private key. This encrypted digest is the digital signature for the memo. Bob sends both the memo and the digital signature to Alice. Notice here, the memo is not encrypted. We only focus on digital signature. When Alice receives them, she will do two things. One, Alice decrypts the digital signature using Bob's public key and she gets the digest. If she cannot decrypt the digital signature, then she knows it did not come from Bob because only Bob's public key is able to decrypt the digest generated with his private key. 2. Once Alice gets the digest, she will check the integrity of the memo. Here is what she does. Alice hashes the memo with the same hash algorithm Bob used and compares the result to the digest she received. If they are equal, Alice can be confident that the memo has not changed since Bob signed the memo. If the digests are not equal, Alice will know the memo has changed in transit.
Okay. From this diagram, from this video, right, it's very interesting to know that the digital signature actually improve the hash function further by introducing what they call it, the asymmetric cryptography algorithm. If you look here, okay, this is the one that we learned before, hash algorithm. You can put salt here if you want to. Okay, you can even use HMACA if you want to. But remember, when you put salt or if you put HMAC, the process will be longer. So this is faster. Just a normal hash. Maybe you can use MD5, right? And digest the message. This is the plain text message. And then we added a signature. This is to produce integrity. This is to produce integrity of the data. This to authenticate the user, which is this user. All right. So what's happened is that when he send this to Alice, okay, but the message is not encrypted, yeah, it's cuma hash saja, okay, verified, okay, verified, the digest ni. So this will become digital signature ni, become here. So what this purpose, this is the digital signature, can be your normal signature boleh ya. They convert your image to become a digital signature, all right. So the Alice will again use the public key of Bob to decrypt this, okay, and then check kalau betul from Bob, it should apa nama ni, sama lah the keys tu dengan Bob punya. Otherwise, it's not belong to Bob. It's just to authenticate, untuk mengesahkan, to authenticate that this message come from Bob. Itu je. This is to make sure that this message is coming from Bob. That's to solve the authentication problem. Number 2, to make sure that this data is integrity is okay. They use another hash algorithm. Kalau nombor ni sama, maksudnya tadi kan, kalau the value of the cipher text ni sama, digest text ni sama, so it's the integrity, the data has the integrity. Okay, so digital signature actually introduce authentications into the solution. Okay. Previously, hash function or hash algorithm only focusing on integrity. Okay, hash function. Now, what's the difference between hash function and digital signature? Digital signature produce authentications. Tambah satu lagi.
A digital signature.
Okay, so okay, ni lagi ha. Okay. Alright, I want to skip this. A digital signature is a mathematical method used to check the authenticity, integrity of a message. Okay, pelajar pula. Digital software or software. In many countries, digital signatures have the same legal importance as a manually signed document. Okay, it can also provide repudiations. Some countries, kalau recognized by the authorities, it also provide repudiation. Maksudnya, you cannot deny that the file is come from you. Contohnya, okay. So it's used by the bank basically. So when you do transaction in the bank, there is a digital signature or digital certificate that we are going to look after this. Okay. Ni tadilah gambar dia, ni list tadi. Okay, and then we have this message, and then we create this message digest, and then we send what they call it, encrypt with the private key. Okay. So what we use is that we use a key for digital signature ni. There are two key, public key and private key. Okay, for public key is to encrypt and private key is to decrypt. Okay, what one key does and the other will validate. Okay, private key to digitally sign for this particular case, for this particular case, and private key is to authenticate as well. So this one and this public key verify the signature. This the same person, the public dengan the, let's say this is my key. Okay, so I use my key to decrypt. Okay, and also to digitally sign and to authenticate. Okay, and I can use my public key to encrypt and then to verify the signature and to verify the authentication. So this is asymmetric key cryptography encryption. Right, so let's compare with the HMAC and HMACS just now kan. Both are the same. The enforce integrity and authenticity, sama tadi HMCS tadi, use cryptography keys. Okay, they both employ hash functions. The only difference is that kalau HMAC tadi, kalau you ingat tadi kan, lepas hash function tadi, lepas salt, we have HMAC kan. Okay, we have MSC. Cuma HMC they use key. It's almost similar to digital certificate. The HMAC ni almost similar. The difference that HMAC use symmetric key. Satu key saja, satu kunci saja. Yang ni digital signature use two keys, one pair of key, public and private. HMAC satu key, no public. Maksudnya satu kunci saja. Alright. Of course, HMAC is better than compare dengan normal hash function. Tapi digital signature lagi better because they have public key. Alright, now let's go to number 3.0, digital certificate. Apa dia? What's the difference between digital signature? Now we look into digital certificate. Okay, another video here.
Let's look at this example again. First, Bob creates a pair of key, public key and private key. He keeps his private key and put his public key in a public place. Then Bob creates his message and uses his private key to digitally sign the message and sends them to Alice. Now the problem. Suppose a hacker intercepts Bob's digitally signed message. The hacker simply throws them away and creates a whole new package. He creates his own public key and private key and put his own public key in public place. Just like Bob. The hacker creates a totally different message and creates the hacker's own signature with his own private key. The hacker sends them to Alice. He tells Alice, "This is Bob. Please go to get my public key so that you can verify my digital signature and my digitally signed message." Alice gets hacker's public key and uses it to verify hacker's signature, and of course, everything would work fine. But Alice has no idea about the true identity of the sender because anyone can pretend to be Bob. Therefore, there's one weakness in digital signature: lack of authentication. Digital signature itself does not verify true identity of the sender and his public key. The solution is digital certificate.
Okay,
Verify the owner owns the public key. Use the same scenario as an example. When Bob sends public key to Alice, he does not ask her to retrieve his public key from a central site. Instead, Bob attaches a digital certificate to his public key and sends them to Alice together with his digitally signed message. So what's the information is contained in a digital certificate? It typically includes items such as certificate owner's name, owner's public key and expiration date, the digital certificate issuer's name, the certificate issuer's digital signature, and so on. Alice would check all this information on certificate, and since she trusts the third party, she would trust the digital certificate. Alice can safely assume that the public key contained in a digital certificate is actually from Bob, not anyone else, thus preventing man-in-the-middle attack. Keep in mind, digital certificate is based on trust. The trusted third party is a certificate authority, an entity that issues digital certificates. Like in real life, you believe my passport can verify my identity simply because you trust my passport's issuer. Another analogy in life: when we sign a very important contracts, we need a public notary, such as a bank, to verify the identity of the signer signing the paper, witnesses the signatures, and marks the document with stamp or seal. A notary is supposed to ensure all signatures on a document are legitimate. So is digital certificate. In summary, digital certificate is based on trust or chain of trust. It verifies the identity of the public key owner. In other words, it verifies digital signature is truly signed by the claimed signer.
Okay, right. So if you look from this video, okay, in previous, by having only digital digital signature, we cannot verify if that, what they call it, if this message coming from Bob, okay, the hackers can interrupt this is man-in-the-middle attack, right? The one I showed you before, man-in-the-middle attack. He can simply disguise himself as Bob, use his own keys, and pass it to Alice. Alice don't know, maybe he's think that this is from Bob. So we introduce another layer of security, which is based on trust. They call it digital certificate. Digital certificate not produced by us, it's produced by the authorities, by third party. The example shown here just now is that it being used like passport, your IC, your identity card, and as long as produced by the third party, recognized authority, that is similar to digital certificate. Okay, like here, right? So there's a certificate which contain that, okay, this is truly comes from actual Bob. If hackers, they cannot use it because it's not attached here, because when he check it, okay, there's no digital certificate, so he cannot verify this message is important. So that's the difference between digital certificate and digital signature. So we can Okay, all right. So quickly we can look here, similar to this concept of passport. Okay, it can it can also provide confidentiality of for the receiver with the means to encrypt a reply. Okay, it follows a standard structure so that any entity can read and understand it regardless of the issuer. The X509 is the standard for construction of digital certificate and the public key infrastructure to manage digital certificate. And it's the PKI is the public key infrastructure, is the policies, rules, and procedures required to create, manage, distribute, use, store, and revoke digital certificate. So there is a standard. Otherwise, if we don't use a standard, it can be what do you call it? The other party cannot recognize it. Okay. So the difference between digital signature and digital certificate, okay, digital signature is like a fingerprint, or an attachment to a digital document that ensures its authenticity and integrity. Okay, authenticity and integrity, that's all. But for digital certificate, is a file that makes sure holders' identity and provide security. The keywords here is security. This is we don't. It's only on the document. It's only make sure that the data is authenticate, real. The data is real, and it has retained its integrity from point A to point B. The data does not change. That's it. It's nothing about the user. The user can be anyone. Okay, can be Bob, can be Beep, can. But this one, definitely, it comes from Bob, not from anyone else. Itu beza dia. So you need digital certificate. Next, the process hash value of original message is encrypted with sender's secret key to generate the digital signature. Okay, we use this secret key, asymmetric key. Okay, but for the digital certificate, by certifying authority that involve 4-step key generations, registrations, verifications, and creations. So this panjang sikit lah. Okay. And security services provided authenticity of sender, integrity of the document, and non-repudiations. It provides security and authenticity of the certificate holder, pemegang ni, passport tu lah. Because this is being verified by the third party, by authorized third party. Okay. There's a standard, of course, for the digital signature standard, DSS, and then it's followed the X509 standard format. So that's the difference between digital signature and digital certificate. Okay, next is on the database integrity. This is the final part for this topic for this lecture. We still have to look into database integrity. It's not really relevant to the first 3 topics on hash, on digital signatures, on digital certificate, but still very important because most of our data are stored in database. Okay, even if you want just a simple apps, yeah. When you are in information system, kan, database is very important. Everywhere is about database. You need to store our data in a database. Okay, so to make sure the database, if we talk about integrity, we should talk about database. Okay, so we have to make sure that we have to enforce the integrity of database because this is where our data being stored. They bukannya store randomly. Even you have only username and password, only 2. Okay, so it's still a database. Okay, database integrity provides an efficient way to store, retrieve, and analyze data. As data collection increases and data becomes more sensitive, it is important for cybersecurity professionals to protect growing numbers of databases. Data integrity refers to accuracy, consistency, and reliability of data stored in database. If you remember the data breaches, the cybersecurity incident, the first video that I shown to you, data security incident, most of them target for this data. Okay, database. They are looking into the database. They try to hack into the database. Okay, so that's why it's important to have that database integrity is to be looked after. Okay. The 4 database integrity rules or constraints for as follows: entity integrity. All rows must have a unique identifier called a primary key. Ini dia, primary key. Okay. Ini setiap row ni. Dia kena unik ya, tak boleh sama. Saya rasa database subject kan. Domain integrity. all data stored in a column must follow the same format and definitions. Contohnya, yang ni hanya boleh huruf saja, you can only use alphabet, cannot more than 20 characters, and you have to give some rules. You cannot simply, you can put numbers, you can put any text, and so on. Password contohnya, you set rules, you must have both capital letters, minimum 8 digits dan sebagainya. Okay, you have to set some format and definitions. Okay, referential integrity, the table relationship must remain consistent. Therefore, a user cannot delete a record which is related to another one. Okay, meaning that if there's another table other than this, if there's another unique key, okay, the secondary key to the primary key, you cannot simply, the database should not allow this to be deleted because there's another table related to this database. Maybe this is database only names, company name, first name, and last name. But there's another table on the, contohnya another table is on the purchase, barang yang nak dibeli, the product that you buy. So the other key would be on the, not this ID, but maybe on your first name or maybe on your company. Okay, so if you delete this, if you think that if you want to delete this, you are not able to delete because there's another data exists. So that is why I said referential integrity. Okay. Another one is user-defined integrity, a set of rules defined by a user which does not belong to one of the other categories. For example, a customer places a new order. The user first checks to see if this is a new customer. If it is, the user adds the new customer to the customer table. So this is basically a programming part. It need to check the validity. Okay, for example, like we have, if there's another, the same person named Elizabeth Anderson, okay, another one is Elizabeth Anderson as well, two same person. So how this system react? So you have to define that rules. Okay, do you allow that, but giving the different ID? Okay, otherwise it will sometimes, if you didn't put that what they call rules, it may override the current data. Okay, for example, this is Elizabeth Anderson from company H. Suddenly there's another one register, the same name, Elizabeth Anderson, but company B. So that because it has the same name, doesn't got any rules, the system assume, the computer assume it is the same person, so it will override, okay, this database. So that's why it's very important to make sure that the database, to retain its integrity, you have to follow these rules, okay? Entity integrity, domain, referential, and user-defined. All right, next one is on database validations. Okay, validation rules checks and that data falls within the parameters defined by the database designer. Okay, it ensures the completeness, accuracy, and consistency of data. The rules, size, format, consistency, range, and check digit. Okay, check the number of characters in data item, the size. Okay, check the data conform to specified format, numbers ke, okay, digit ke, character ke, kan. Consistency of codes in related data items. Okay, range, what lies within a minimum and maximum values, up to negative 999 ke, contohnya kan, up to 999 minus 999 ataupun doesn't allow any null, okay, null data. Check digit if there provides an extra calculation to generate check digit for error detections. Okay, maybe some error dan sebagainya. Okay, so this is in database subject sebenarnya, database design. So this is another topic, not what they call it, introduced as part of the to ensure that the data is retain its integrity. Okay. Another one is to proper maintain the trustworthiness and usefulness of data is proper filing. Okay, maintaining proper filing. Maksudnya, table, records, fields, and data make up database. Okay, you must follow certain rule. Okay, integrity of database. Each integrity is integrity rule, which state that every table must have a primary key. Okay, betul. Must be unique and not null. Okay, kalau null maksudnya missing or unknown values. Okay, entity integrity enables proper organization of data record. So this is the important rule to to make sure that the proper filing is maintained. Okay, another check is that referential integrity. Number 2 tadi lah, deals with foreign key. Okay, this is table number 1, inventory. Table number 2. So we have this ID. So this is the same. Okay, so we use this ID. So this is primary key, this is foreign key. So we cannot simply delete this because it's related to this. Okay, so there's a references by this table 1, table 2 reference to this. Okay, so this is what I call referential integrity. They need to check. Okay, and next is domain integrity, the explanatory lah. Okay, all the times in column fall within a defined set of values. Contoh di sini credit card numbers, you have to put rules here. It must have 16 integers. This format entered and modified by customer only, cannot by admin maybe. All right, it must be validated. Contohnya, all right, maybe ask for SMS kan, second authentications. Okay, and email address format macam ni dan sebagainya. So this is the rules for the domain integrity. Okay, and then last, to summarize my lecture, this lecture presented the art of integrity, which is used to ensure that the data remains unchanged by anyone or anything over its entire life cycle. Okay, so the keyword is that the data remain unchanged, tidak berubah by anyone or anything over its entire life cycle. I send it from point A to point B, the data is still the same. Itu maksud integrity here, the art of integrity. Okay, itu maksud dia. And how we control that? How we control the data integrity? Number 1 is using hash function. Number 2 is using password sorting. We improve that by introducing password sorting. There is some, what do you call it? Ada kelemahan dia, with some weaknesses. Okay, some drawback. Of course, it's still good. Basic fundamental program, basic function boleh je. Okay, but if you want to have a complicated and you want to store a very important items or data, you have to introduce more security by introducing password sorting, or you can use HMSC, right? Key hash message authentication code ataupun hash message authentication code. All right. These tools provide a way for cybersecurity specialists to verify the authenticity of messages and documents. And then we conclude our discussions of database integrity enforcement. Okay. Having a well-controlled and well-defined data integrity system increases the stability, performance, and maintainability of database system. Okay, so everything is about database. Basically, if you look into the world of data that we have now, it's all about database. And if we talk about integrity, first we need to make sure that the data is how we control the integrity of data is the data is valid. Okay, is the data is correct. Okay, and then at the same time, rule number 1. Okay, we just show you example of the password. So we use password, and then we use hash function, and then the rest like data, the rest of the data, maybe messages, maybe your detail, maybe what they call it, your pictures, we can use what they call it. We can use different. We can attach together with digital signature, and then we can verify that it belong to us through digital certificate. Okay. Contoh sini kan hash function plus solve, HMSC, digital signature. This is what we have learned in this topic. In summary, we have learned about hash function only, hash algorithm. Okay, and then digital signature, digital certificate, database integrity enforcement, and so what's the difference? Sekali lagi. Let me repeat again. Let me recap this. Okay, both this to ensure the integrity of the data. Okay, hash function one way. The keyword is that it must one way. All right. I send you the data. It should not come back to me. The data. Maksudnya to ensure the integrity of the data. Okay. What about HMSC and digital signature? It introduced authenticity. Okay, this two, authenticity. Ini introduce apa? Apa tadi? Key, kunci. Ini tak ada kunci. This introduce key. This is symmetric key. This is asymmetric key. One key, pair key. Itu beza dia. These two. Alright. But people will use digital signature. Can I still use this? Yes. Do you know where we use HMAC? We use it when we browse the internet. HTTPS. HTTPS. Ada S belakang tu, maksudnya dia guna HMAC. Alright. If you don't use if you use HTTP, hypertext kan, hypertext link tu, website tu, you type HTTP kan, without S maksudnya there's no HMAC. The security boleh dipertikaikan. You can question the security of the website. So basically, most of the website now they include the word the S belakang tu, FTPS kan, HTTPS. So that's where HMAC is being applied. Okay, digital signature, of course, email dan sebagainya. Alright, documents that we can send. Sometimes we didn't realize it. We send it using digital. Now it's embedded. Right. Sekarang ni adalah the extra digital signature compared to HMAC is that it can introduce non-repudiations. Inilah dia kelebihan ni lah. One extra features of digital signature over HMAC. Okay, both of them are produce integrity and authenticity, but for digital signature, it also introduce non-repudiations. Maksudnya, you cannot claim that is not yours. Alright, this signature is yours, so it must come from you kan. Contohnya lah, so macam tu lah. Okay. Next one is on digital certificate. It's introduced. Okay, previously integrity and authenticity is to verify the messages and data. Tetapi it's not necessary that the data come from the right person. Okay, so this is based on trust, chain of trust. So this introduce a security, add another layer of security. Digital certificate ni, the data is of course first integrity, okay. Authentic tak? Authentic. Tapi is it comes from the real person? Maybe yes, maybe no. So to make sure that this data actually come from the right person, so we introduce digital certificate. Okay, so digital certificate ni adalah like passport, right? And last kali adalah database integrity enforcement. Okay, they cover all of this actually. This is only data, one data, but it being stored in the database. Like I said, everything nowadays is all in database. Okay, semua dalam database. If you have a TikTok account, if you have YouTube account, if you Zoom account, your data are being stored in database. Okay, but the transaction of login, okay, you try to log in, of course you need this function, all this function. Selamat dah, betul. But it's useless if you're able to submit your data, if you're able to do secure transactions, you log in, your password is okay, secured, but the database integrity is not there. It's not being enforced. Tak guna juga, kan? When suddenly you think that you log in, the security is very good, you have digital certificate, you have digital signature, this is only over the network. Network okay. Tapi you forgot one thing, database tak ada orang jaga. There's no one looking after the database. There's no accuracy, tak ada consistency, tak reliable. So at the same time, when we talk about, to conclude my session ni, to ensure, okay, the art of ensuring integrity kan, satu seni. It involves this satu cycle ni. So this is one of the basic cybersecurity essential course for Cisco Network Academy. So if you want to take CCNA kan, as a, what do you call it, as a associate for cyber Cisco, right? So this is one of the basic module that you need to take. Okay, so it's very basic on the network. It's all about network. It's all about transactions of data. Okay, and all about the storage of data. Database is storage. This is about transactions and the security of data. The storage of data, the transactions. So the data is confirmed valid, confirmed has integrity and being authenticated from the right person. But what about the storage? Tempat simpanan tu macam mana? Adakah tempat simpanan okey? Kalau okey, please make sure that the storage is okay. Okay, data dah okey dah, data selamat, safe, real, from real person. Macam emas kan? Gold, you know gold, emas. Where do you want to put your gold? You cannot simply put your gold on the table or any locker kan? Any drawers. You have to put it in a secure place, macam kat bank ke ataupun dekat peti besi ke, right? Okay, so same here. Database is, you have to make sure that your database is also must have it integrity juga. It doesn't focus on the data, database sendiri, the structure of database tu must also, you have to make sure that it being enforced. Okay, one quiz sebelum kita nak start, sebelum saya nak tanya soalan, lama saya ni, before we can have our soalan-soalan ni. I just want, you can respond to me. Okay, you can respond to me. Lama, nanti saya bagi jawapan pula. Okay. You can respond to me. There's only 5 questions, 4 or 5 questions only. What is a strength of using a hashing function? Okay, what is the answer? Saya tak tahu siapa nak jawab ni. You can chat to me, chat lah, chat. Saya dah ambil masa dah, sorry. Okay, jawapan dia.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm Halim. So
We
first
can
of
go
all,
to Q&A.
okay, first of all, I would like to remind you that it's
Q&A.
probably over 50 minutes
Yes,
now.
yes, sorry.
So we will cut the discussion session, so it's okay. I think the answer for this question is A. It's a one-way function and not reversible.
Okay, that's good. Oh, that's good. Okay, that's good. Okay, that's good. All right, that's good. Okay, number 2. What is number 2? A user is instructed by a boss to find a better method to secure password in transit. The user has researched several means to do so and has settled on using HMSC. What are the key elements needed to implement HMSC? Ni apa dia? What's the answer? Who can answer that? Siapa nak bagi jawapan? Kira Q&A lah ni. Right? You can send chat or you can MC Halim pun boleh mewakili, can represent the rest.
Can I answer
Yes,
this?
yes.
The answer is secret key and message because A.
Okay, why?
Because because HIMSI is implementation is a secret key add to hash.
Yes. So secret key is added to the message digest. That's why we call it HMSC, HMAC, right? Right.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. IP secret protocol. Okay, that's good. Okay, next one is an investigator finds a USB drive at a crime scene and wants to present it as evidence in court. The investigator takes the USB drive and creates a forensic image of it and takes a hash of both original USB device and the image that was created. What is the investigator attempting to prove about the USB drive when the evidence is submitted in court? What is investigator attempting to prove about the USB drive when the evidence is submitted in court? So this is cybersecurity analyst, investigator. So what's the answer would be? A, B, C, D.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Maybe I think it's C.
Okay,
It's
why?
the exact copy because because if using a hash code, I think they can prove that the data is is correct and nothing is altered.
Why is not A?
I don't know. I was just guessing.
Okay, an exact copy cannot be made of a device. Okay, so if what's happened if an exact copy cannot be made of a device? If you cannot make a copy, what does it tell you? What does it show? I mean, you cannot make a copy. There's a data in USB, and you cannot copy that. What's happened actually? Means that there's a lot of scenarios. For example, I copy and I try to make a hash function, and it's not the same copy. So it means that the data is not valid. Maybe, all right. The integrity of data can be questions. So A is not the answer. Okay. So what about B then? What's different between B and C? The investigator found a USB drive and was able to make a copy of it. Is it the same like C? What do you think? Anyone can do this? the investigator found that if you are the investigator later in the future, if you work in the forensic, in forensic, this is what thing that you do. You're able to make a copy of it.
Maybe it's to know that the data has not been manipulated by the crime person. Maybe.
Okay, it's echo there. So anyway, yes, both them B and C you can make a copy, but B it doesn't guarantee that it's the same copy, right? You can assume that B and C you can make the two copy data, but B doesn't say that it's the same copy.
Yes.
Yes. Look the same, sound the same, but when you look, it's a fake video. For example, it's a fake video. That's what they call it, deep algorithm, fake video. And data is all there. What about this one? Last one. Data is all there. What does it mean by data is all there? Again, it's not about the data. Of course, data is there, but how you make sure that it's not, when you talk here, of course, the data is there, but you need to verify is that data is valid for the evidence in court. When you brought this as evidence in court, you must make sure, number one, that the integrity of the data. You simply cannot send a fake video. What normally the forensic analysts do in what they call the police, they do when I visit the what they call it PDRM police di Raja Malaysia. This is what they do actually. They verify the integrity of the data so that it can be brought into the court. If the evidence is not valid, is not, they say that data is not exact copy, is not the same. Okay, there's some issues there. Even one binary code problem, it cannot be brought as evidence in court, right? Data is there, but it's a fake video, fake data, or it may be not come from the right person. The digital certificate is not available. Okay. Okay, last one. This is last question. I think last question. Dah bagi jawapan dah. Anyway, I already give the answer there. Okay, a user has created a new program and wants to distribute it to a random company. What the user can do to ensure that the program is not changed when downloaded. Okay, this is another good. I think you can do this. Create a hash of the program file that can be used to verify the integrity of the file after it's downloaded. Okay, some of you like to download file again, apps and so on. So what you can do is that you can create, you can hash the program, and then you can verify that you can check the hash data, hash value tu dengan hash value given by the provider. Sometimes they give it as a checksum. They can checksum, a simple hash program. If the numbers are the same, it is the valid. Because sometimes we don't know, the middleman attack ni. We think that we download something. Suddenly when we download, it's actually, like I said, rat kan, Trojan virus ni, dia masuk. Install, okay, there is. People, what hackers normally do, they create the similar exactly functioning program, apps, function. Exactly, you can use it. Contohnya exactly Zoom, normal Zoom, but you don't know that when you think that it's Zoom, but basically when you open the video, you type your password. Sometimes it's dangerous. One thing that I like to share to everyone: do not use the same password to all the same to your all different account. If you use your Zoom account, your password is the same as your email, your same password for your for your bank account, your same password for your everything. Nowadays, people are using Gmail, Gmail or Facebook to log in as Facebook, to log in at the user TikTok account. Dia guna satu account je, Gmail contohnya. If you trust Gmail, that's okay. But once your Gmail being compromised, all your accounts will be breaches. That's why back to my first video just now, why there's so many cases of data breaching, because people are using the same password, the same login, the same password, and then the hackers simply, for example, they know your Gmail address, they know your Gmail password, they try randomly to use that to access my bank account. Selalu dapat, bertuah dia, lucky, because you cannot remember password. So what you can do is that maybe I can use the same password. You just use that. That's happened. Okay, right. So that's it for me. Anyway, I just like to, if you want to know about FISE, I'd like to invite you to come to our Facebook here, MSU-FISE, right? This is on Facebook. It's always been updated. Okay, you can visit me. This is where the president and myself, my team, my RX team, and I'd like to invite all of you, right? And we're going to have maybe physical and virtual exhibition next year. You can see our program, our final year student presenting projects, including our student from Crypto Forensics. Very interesting project. You can see the applications of hash function, applications of digital signatures, image processing, okay, digital security, and so on. There's a lot of project there, right? I think last time for this coming year, 20 and 22nd December, or RX, okay, it will be there will be some activities will be virtual, and I would like, as a partner to UNAIR, I will invite you, of course, and I would like you, of course, join our event, maybe as a participant. Maybe not this year, next year. We're going to have this event twice a year, yeah, in February, not in February, December, and also in May. Okay. So last time, I think this is the first time where we had our the first what do you call it? Your senior, okay, had the one of them won the award, okay, and our 2019 before pandemic. So your colleague present here with the president. So this is the project that they presented, Halal, I think, if not mistaken, that project last time. So maybe you can do project on cybersecurity and then do presentation and can compare with our project. Okay. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Universitas Airlangga, UNAIR, right, for inviting me. And it's a very good opportunity for me. And that's it from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for the lecture, Dr. Irsyad. So it's already 14:42. That means
yes, sorry.
that means it's okay. That means we are close to the closing statement session. But before that, we have something for Dr. Irsyad. Maybe the committee who are responsible to share the screen. Would you please share the gift that we already provided?
Ada juga online and virtual.
Yeah. Okay. So, dear the committee, can you please help me to share the certificate?
Digital certificate, eh?
Yes, sir. Okay, where is it? Okay. Hello, the committee. Okay. So here's something that we would like to present to Dr. Irsyad, because we are very grateful for the opportunity to listen to your lecture today. It was very insightful. We have learned a lot of things. I did write something. We have learned about HMAC, hashing algorithm, also about data breaching, social engineering, man in the middle, and a lot of stuff today.
It's a lot, actually.
So, okay. So maybe from Mr. Badruzzaman, do you have something to say to Dr. Irsyad?
Okay, thank you. Hello. Okay. Okay, thank you, Dr. Irsyad. I think we have more insight for your presentation. I think this is very useful for our participants, especially for issue class. So I would like to thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Badrus, and thank you also for Dr. Irsyad.
Yes.
Because it's already time.
Yes.
Maybe there's like 2 or 3 minutes available for Dr. Irsyad to maybe present some closing statement for us today.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Sorry. I took a longer time actually for this. Maybe it's a lot for, I don't know. Actually, I don't know how much you know and how much you don't know. So basically, I just explain everything from my understanding. So my reference is based on the, like I said, Cisco network. Okay, that's what we use here. That's what we refer here for our cybersecurity essential. But anyway, I'd like to thanks again for inviting me, and also on behalf of MSU and Faculty of Information Sciences Engineering. It's a great opportunity for us to collaborate with this kind of lecture series. And I'm looking forward also in the future that we can continue this again and have this exchange of what do you call it, lecture, okay, between MSU and also Universitas Airlangga, okay, and please do join us in the next RX, okay, please come in the RX. We will share you virtual. I think you never miss our RX. That I think I do appreciate it very much. Okay, so that's all from me, and thank you very much for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Irsyad. Okay, I think it's enough for the committee. You can close your share screen. Okay, and for everyone, there is an attendance list that you can fill to get the certificate for today's lecture. That's it. Our committee have already shared it in the chat on Zoom. You can fill up the form and get your certificate for DECOTA today. So I think that's it. It has already 14:46. We have learned a lot about the art of ensuring integrity with Dr. Irsyad today. So I think that's it, everyone. Before we close our meeting today, let's pray together and pray start. Pray finish. Okay, once again, I would like to say thank you so much for Dr. Irsyad for sharing the knowledge and also the experience. And we hope to see you very soon in the future, maybe not virtually, maybe we can meet in person. That would be amazing. So I think that's it for today. Before we end our meeting, let's take a picture together, everyone. So if you guys can please open up your camera, it would be much appreciated. Okay. Okay, let's open up your camera, everyone. Okay, I see a lot of people are here. Okay. Okay, we're still waiting for some more people to open up their camera. Okay. Okay. I think we are ready to take a picture together. For everyone who haven't opened up their camera, please do open up your camera. Okay, so I think that's it. Here I can see that I have 5 slides. Maybe the committee will help me to take a screenshot of each slide together. Okay, I will. Okay, I will give to the committee for the photo session.
Okay, guys, on count of 3, there are 3 slides in here in my screen. First slide, 1, 2, 3. Okay, for the second slide, on count of 3, 1, 2, 3. The last slide, 1, 2, 3. Okay, guys, I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Hafiz, for the screenshot. Okay, so I think that's it. That wraps up our meeting today, our lecture or our class today. Once again, thank you so much, Dr. Irsyad. Thank you also to Mr. Badru Zaman. And thank you everyone who have already participated in our discussion today. And see you later on DECOTA in Universitas Airlangga. My name is Halim as the Master of Ceremony. Thank you so much for your attention. See you next time. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Alim. Thank you, Dr. Irsyad.
Thank you, Dr. Irsyad.
Thank you semua.
Thank you, Doctor.